What's up everybody and welcome to the channel. So in today's video we're going to do the classic 5 things I hate about my car video. So we are going to be talking about my wife's 2016 Audi S3, basically going over 5 complaints that I have with the car, and if you are looking to buy an Audi S3, 5 things that possibly could be things to deter you from buying this car. Basically just downsides with the car that aren't exactly ideal. So with that said, 5 things I hate about my wife's Audi S3, and she loves everything about this car, so I don't think she's gonna like this video all too much. But we're gonna hop inside with the first issue that I have with the Audi S3. And if you are a buyer of one of these cars looking to buy one, a lot of people ask the main differences between the 8V and then the 8Y, and a lot of people seem to say the cup holders are gonna be one of the biggest things you're gonna notice. So the cup holders in this car, quite honestly, are actually awful. So sitting in here, if I turn the electronics on, the way they are shaped, it is really hard to get a cup in here without hitting your buttons. Whenever I put this in, I can't even completely get it in here without clicking a button or something. So many times I'll do that, and you can see we've just switched different climate controls. So these are just not designed for water bottles in a modern era. I always have a water bottle like this with me. I don't drink the little tiny plastic ones. And on the right side, it always clicks these buttons. It gets in the way. You can't really adjust anything. Now we've got air conditioning on. It's just a real pain in the butt using these cup holders. They're just really small. This side is not the worst if you're gentle with it, but then it really completely blocks all of your climate. If you have 2 of them in here, of course, you have basically no way to adjust your climate controls. So whoever designed the cup holders in this car, it's just not well thought out at all. They're just way too small for a water bottle that's a reasonable size. They're in the way all the time. And with that said, the space up in front is completely blocked by your cup there as well. So this car is already small enough, there's not that much storage, and when you have things in the cup holders, it's just a mess. When you look at the 8Y, I believe they're in the center console like a normal car would be, and it makes it a lot better. On top of that, the shifter is right here, so you're always smashing your fingers into your bottles as well. It's just the worst design, biggest gripe with this car, and that's the only thing my wife hates about this car as well. Other than that, she loves it, but that is certainly the biggest annoying thing with the S3. Number 2 on the list has to do with these seats. Now our car has the synthetic leather material. You do have a pretty cool leg rest that will come out that is currently full of dirt, and we do have power controls on the side of it. Not a bad seat. You do get S3 up and top. However, this isn't the super cool seat. There is another one available. You get the fine Napa leather, the stitching. However, that is a manual controlled seat. Now my wife and I knew both of us are going to be driving this car a lot. I'm 5'11", she's like 5'3". Needless to say, our seat position is significantly different, and we chose this with the power seat because we knew we could easily adjust it versus manual. However, there's no memory seating. I am so looking forward to the day our next car has memory seating. If she's driven this car and then I hop into it, I will smash my knees in the steering wheel and I can barely get in the car. When I've driven it last and she hops in it, I don't know if she can quite reach the pedals. So it's just a little annoying thing. You know, it's a luxury brand car. It's got some technology in it. We'd really love it to have memory seating. I know it's a 2016, not the newest, most up-to-date car, but my goodness, when the day comes, it is gonna be a great day to have memory seating. That way she and I don't have to be annoyed every time we get in the car after the other person has driven it. So for number 3 on the list, this might not come off on camera, but I've noticed this with a lot of German cars. So if I go ahead and just lock the car, no big deal. If it's in my garage or something, I come up to it, maybe there's something in it, you know, unlock the car, hop in, check it out, close the door. From there, you're gonna hear a lot of electronics turned on. If I pop the hood, you're gonna hear clicks and things like that, especially if I've just driven the car, parked it, popped the hood to look under the hood for whatever reason. You just hear so many electronic things turning on, clicking, doing things. The automatic headlights, if you leave them on automatic, they stay on for quite a bit after you're done driving the car. Now, of course, none of those affect anything. Again, I've noticed it with other German cars, but I'm the type of person that when I lock the car, leave it, I like it to just be off and like parked. It's weird, a lot of German cars, they just seem to stay on even when the car's locked. And it always makes me question, like, are the lights gonna turn off? Why are there things going on in the background when the car should be completely off? So it's just a little weird, quirky thing. It takes a little getting used to. I know the day I brought this car home, I had it parked in the garage and I was working on other things, and all I could hear was just electronic buzzes and clicks going on with the computer system. And it was just such a weird little thing. So a little weird quirk with the car. Moving on to the next one now. which is how small the car is. Now, obviously, if you're buying Audi's S3, you know this isn't an RS7 or some massive thing. It's not an SUV. However, it is noticeably just a small footprint of a car. In the back seats at 5'11", I do fit here. My head just barely touches the ceiling and my knees are right up against the seat. So it's doable, which is nice. There are amenities like an armrest. You even have storage and cup holders. So it's actually well equipped. You even do get air vents, which is kind of rare to see. However, when we use this for storage or something, if you fold down the seats or anything, you know, this kind of gets in the way of that. And when we went to Michigan in this for Christmas, we had 2 snowboards in here, and that took up about half of the entire storage space. With our backpacks, a few gifts and things like that, this was filled to the brim. You kind of got to watch what you're putting in it because the storage space will run out a little bit quicker than you're expecting. It's great for 2 people with no kids. This is fantastic for us for the current moment. However, we know we will be growing out of it at some point and need something a lot bigger. And when you're in the front seats, passenger seat especially, for me, I feel a little like I'm a little big in the car. The dashboard is really close to you. You just notice that. And again, that's not to say it's a bad thing. It's just when you drive a sedan like this, you would expect maybe a little bit more space, but it is a small car. It really is pretty tiny. All right, so the 5th and final thing that I hate about the Audi S3 is the transmission. Now, I am so glad this has a dual clutch transmission. I would not have bought the car if it had a torque converter automatic or a CVT. The transmission truly is a really, really big selling point. And overall, 80% of the time, transmission is pretty amazing. My one issue with it is sometimes it just isn't all too responsive. Now, from what I've heard with other owners, the DSG tune is a huge step up. It makes it way more responsive and even adds horsepower and torque with just updating the tuning software that the transmission is running. So the problem with it is most of the time, you know, in dynamic mode, upshifting and downshifting, using the paddles or the shifter in the console, it's super snappy. It'll upshift really quick, it'll downshift, doing its own rev match thing, and be a really fun, kind of like a mini GTR. It's got those characteristics. However, sometimes I notice if I downshift, particularly in second gear from third to second, sometimes it doesn't really shift. I'll downshift and it kind of just pauses a little bit and then we'll slowly make a gear change 5 or 6 seconds later. It kind of feels like just a basic automatic at that point. So it feels like sometimes the transmission just doesn't want to do a downshift. Normally it'll do a snappy one like you would expect any performance car to do, but just every now and then it's just not wanting to do a lightning quick shift. So if I'm going under a underpass or something where I want to make a little bit of noise, you know, I'll downshift real quick and sometimes it doesn't shift, and then when it does, it's already too late, and by then it doesn't even rev match it, it just slowly downshifts like in any other car. So that gets a little annoying when I'm ripping on the car and wanting to have extra fun with it. And then on top of that, the car, while you can take manual control, it will always shift automatically at redline. Not to say I want to go above redline and abuse the car, but if you're playing with the car, having some fun, shifting the higher RPMs, sometimes it's going to shift automatically when you might have almost been ready to shift, which can get a little bit annoying if you're really, really getting on the car. So overall though, transmission, again, I'm glad it has it. It just seems to need a transmission tune to really give you the response that a performance car with a dual clutch is going to have. So it's about 80% there. With that said, those are the 5 things that I hate about the Audi S3. Overall, I am super impressed with what this car has to offer. My wife and I love the car. We really could not have picked a better car, especially for the price point. And the 5 gripes I have with the car, you know, maybe those are irrelevant to you, maybe you don't care, maybe they are deal breakers. I don't know. But for me, they certainly are not deal breakers. However, just things I'm gonna live with and enjoy the car with. With that said, hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next video.